Hi guys, Jenny here from Tarot Reading London with the February 2021 update. Now, I was faced with a little bit of a dilemma when it came to putting this video together because it was feeling like it was all getting a little bit like Groundhog Day, and I was thinking, I'm going to do a February reading about what we can expect, and nothing's going to change. We all know what we're going to expect, and so what am I going to be able to tell you that is going to be in any way helpful or enlightening, or what will be useful? So I decided, rather than do my normal the 4 questions that I normally do, I would throw it open to Spirit, the cards themselves, and ask what they wanted me to say, and so I could just literally deliver that message. So that's what I did. And the first card that I was given, in answer to the question, what do we need to be aware of initially, was the 4 of Cups. And that made me smile, because the 4 of Cups shows a chap sitting underneath a tree, and he is absolutely, very definitely not in the best of moods. Okay, he's very flat emotionally. He's very disinterested in anyone who may attempt to cheer him up in any capacity. He's sat there like that. And the card shows a hand appearing from the side of the card, offering him a cup. He is very determinedly not looking at that cup. He doesn't want to know. And in tarot, that cup represents an opportunity that is not being looked at. So I thought, well, that's quite interesting, because the first thing that the cards appear to be saying is that there is an opportunity here, but we're so busy being miserable about our situation that we can't see the opportunity that's being handed to us. So I thought, that's quite interesting, isn't it? So of course the next question has to be, what opportunity is that? And the card that I drew next was the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man, again, is a very pertinent card in this situation. The Hanged Man is not hanged by any way of punishment or in any negative way. The Hanged Man has actually put himself in that position deliberately, by choice. And so what he is, in effect, is in suspension. So he's hanging there, and he has let go of anything in his life which needs his attention. The message of the card is letting go, sacrifice, giving up in a way. Give up the struggle is what it says. Now, I think what it's actually talking about is the letting go, the need to not be in resistance. Basically, the card asks us to let go of the stories and the narratives we have about the situation. So the stories might be that it's a disaster, things are never going to be back to normal. What is normal anyway? What is this new normal that none of us want? It's a tragedy. It's all awful. And yes, of course, there is tragedy involved in this story, but there is more than that. So the other part of the Hanged Man card that I think is really pertinent in this situation is the idea of sacrifice. The Hanged Man is all about sacrifice. He gives up his freedom. He hangs there in the tree, and he sacrifices himself for what? He sacrifices himself for a new perspective. Okay, he is in effect turned upside down. And he needs to turn himself upside down in order to see things differently. So if the opportunity here is to see things differently, so then what does that tell us? So it might mean that we need to see this situation in a different light. Now, there is no doubt there has been a huge sacrifice involved here. Jobs, careers, businesses, Students with university experiences, all of their hopes and expectations of what they wanted to experience of that has been sacrificed. Personal freedoms, companionships. You know, we all feel that we have given up such a lot. So what are we sacrificing that for? Now, obviously, we are sacrificing that so that others can be protected. We're sacrificing it in the name of others. That's why we're doing it. But also, maybe there is another message here as well. The fact that in having to let go of that we take for granted, having to let go of our own needs, having to let go of those things that we really, really wanted on a proper scale, things have been taken away from us. On a really big scale, people's hopes and dreams, livelihoods have been left, you know, we've been left in a very, very painful position. We've had to sacrifice that. And I wonder what the bigger picture is around that. So perhaps when we start to look at how we view our lives in general, how we view our expectations, how we view what we take for granted, sometimes we can end up looking just a little bit entitled, because we're so busy looking at what we've lost. And yes, those things are very, very hard to lose. And those that have gone on into spirit have sacrificed themselves, and we have had to sacrifice those people, and we are grieving for those sacrifices. But in the bigger picture, in the life that we're living, the sacrifices that we're making are those of things that we want, those things. Now, those things are hard, but what's left? Babies are still being born. Birds are still singing. The sun is still coming up in the sky. We are still alive. We have it all to play for, and we will rebuild. We know that. But maybe in being forced to sacrifice that we take for granted, that we think is our right, we will get a different perspective on what our rights actually are. Maybe when we rebuild and regroup, and we will rebuild and regroup, maybe we will rebuild differently. Maybe this is an opportunity in the sacrifice of taking everything back to a sort of ground zero. We've got the opportunity to rebuild differently, to rebuild kinder, to rebuild with more compassion, to rebuild more sustainably, not for the planet and for ourselves. Maybe what we're looking at here is an opportunity for us to sacrifice for a genuine greater good. Now, I don't know, but that appears to be what this is saying. So I asked how the year would play forward, what we needed to know about the year, and how we could best be guided in that sacrifice. What did we need to know moving forward? How best might we move forward in that sacrifice? And the next card I got was absolutely in tune with that, the Six of Pentacles. And in the Six of Pentacles, if we look at the card, we see a rich man, and he is holding in one hand a set of scales, and at his feet sit two impoverished men, and he is weighing out how much money he's going to give them. Now, we assume them because one of them is sitting behind him, and we don't even know if he's seen that guy. So he's measuring out how much assistance he's prepared to give. Now, the message of the card is he's going to give just about enough to be seen to be doing okay, but not enough so that the balance of power is shifted, because he wants to remain the rich guy. So how much are we prepared to share? Obviously, you know, this brings up thoughts of governmental assistance. How much assistance will the government deem it okay to give us, to give those who are needy? Will there be people who will be left behind, who are sitting just out of sight? How much is it okay for the government to give and still maintain some kind of balance? Because the Six of Pentacles is all about finding the right balance. How much help do we really need? How much are we able to do on our own? So it's going to be about help and assistance. How much are we personally prepared to give? How much are we personally prepared to sacrifice for the greater good? How much are we personally prepared to sacrifice to protect other people? Even in small things, people get very angry about having to wear masks, like it's some kind of massive infringement because it doesn't feel nice. How much are we personally prepared to give? And so that's what this year's going to continue to be about, because the tougher it gets and the longer it goes on, the less we're prepared to give, the less we're prepared to do. We just want it back, right? We just want what we want back again. And we think that the cost is too high, and maybe it is. So where is all this leading? I asked, what can we expect at the end of this? And that's where the good news was delivered, because apparently what we can expect is the Nine of Cups. And the Nine of Cups is the wishes granted card. So if we've been asking for a better world, and if we've been asking for something better, and we've been asking to have our wishes granted, that the world could be a fairer place, that we will rebuild with compassion, that we will rebuild in strength and in community and in society, and we will all feel part of a whole, integrated, interdependent, depending on each other to support us, no matter who we are, whether we're the rich guy, whether we're the poor guy sitting in front holding his hand out, or whether we're the guy sitting at the back that nobody notices. That we will get that will be our gift, that we will get what we want. And if it doesn't look like that's a possibility now, that's because it's not a sacrifice otherwise. We don't sacrifice knowing that we're going to get a present at the end of it, because there's no sacrifice in that. We have to sacrifice anyway, not knowing what the end result will be. We sacrifice because we know it's the right thing to do, and because we have to. And because until we let go of our own personal agendas and our own personal stories, we can't possibly see things in the right way. We're so caught up with our own personal narratives. But that card tells us that actually it will be worth it. It will be better. We will rebuild better. We are blessed. And it will be okay. So I thought that was an amazing gift of a reading. And I do hope that you took something from it that will be of use to you in the month ahead. And I felt personally very uplifted by that reading. I was very grateful that that had been given to me as a message to pass on to you. And I hope that you will take it in the spirit in which it's meant. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. I'm going to see you again in the spring, in March. The sap is rising through the bottom of the trees, and leaves, little buds will be beginning to form any time now. So spring is on the way. I will see you then. I'm always here for a reading if you need one. In the meantime, I'll say goodbye and stay safe. Bye-bye for now. Janis from Tarot Reading London. Thank you. Bye-bye.